This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is the List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle.
You are listening to List Building Lifestyle. With me is the Prince of List Building, Mr. Igor Kheifets. What is up, my man?
I like that. I like the Prince of List Building much better than the Big Daddy of List Building. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I took it down a notch because I wanted to say the King of List Building, and I thought you were going to play that false modesty with me, so I took it down a notch, and it worked, huh?
Come on, my modesty is 100% real. just like my clicks, man.
Oh, man. So, Igor, what's up, man? What do you have in store for us today?
Well, Jonathan, today I want to devote this episode to talk a little bit about ethics and morals, because I believe that the ethical lines of our industry are kind of blurred. And this is something that everyone knows, but very few people talk about it, especially the gurus, right? Now, I do want to remind the list builders that, you got to be careful about who you work with online, because the gurus never reveal the real secret of how they got rich. And that's actually very, very common. And here's like a quick little story that really shows how this works. So several years ago, I paid about 15 grand to work with a guru from Newcastle, United Kingdom. So at the time, I was going through like a rough patch in my business, and I've had my traffic business, which was doing respectable 5 figures per month, and my coaching business, which was doing pretty much about the same, right? Now, the thing about coaching, though, is that it's really time-consuming, and it drains your emotional, mental capacity really, really quickly every single day, because you work with people, you help them solve their problems, there's lots of, conversations you got to have. So it was really tough on me mentally and emotionally. So at the end of each day, after tons of phone calls, Facebook chats, emails back and forth, like really lots and lots of communication, I was exhausted. I just wanted to get home, throw myself on my bed, and have someone spoon feed me, as I drift away into sleep. So I didn't really want to move a muscle, and I didn't want to talk to anyone. And Jonathan, what happens with your marriage when you stop talking to your wife, right?
Oh boy, trouble.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart. So, one time I came back home and my wife wasn't there, which was, it was weird because she was always home. So I dialed her, but, no one picked up. And I started calling all my relatives and all my friends. And it's like, the earth swallowed her whole. So I sort of accepted it and thought to myself, okay, don't panic, just wait and she'll turn up. I didn't want to call the police or anything just yet. So about an hour later, I got a text from her best friend, who said that she showed up on her doorstep with our kid, with Erica, our daughter, crying, and she said that she wanted to basically teach me a lesson. She wanted to see if I noticed that she was missing, that she was gone from home.
Wow.
Because I haven't been paying any attention to her for weeks. Now, this was a shock to me because I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. So this is when I realized that I had to do something different. I had to do something to change my life. I had to do something to restore my marriage. I had to restore the relationship with my wife, because that's the most precious relationship I've got in my life. So I turned to this guru because, he seemed to be living the kind of life that I wanted. He was making a lot of money. He worked about 3 days a week, 4 hours per day. He mostly just done coaching calls and a little bit of, copywriting. And, he was happily married and never seemed to have missed his son's swimming lessons or anything like that. So I asked him, I said, what do I do? To which he says, look, which business are you more passionate about? And I said I was more passionate about helping people through coaching than just selling clicks, than selling traffic, right? And he said, okay, then just go ahead and sell your traffic business and do coaching instead. And this way you will eliminate a huge time suck and you'll just do what you like. And I was like, wait a second, but it doesn't make any sense, because if I sell coaching on how to build traffic businesses and I don't own one myself, doesn't that make me a liar, a hypocrite, a douchebag? To which he said, no, it actually does not. It's not such a big deal at all. And, I've got this client who coaches other people how to do eBay marketing, how to, start eBay businesses, who doesn't really own an eBay business in the first place, but he makes a ton of money coaching other people how to do it. And that was pretty much the last coaching call I've had with the guy. I didn't want to talk to him afterwards because it really shows the backbone. Like when someone recommends you do something like that, it really shows their backbone or the lack of thereof. Like they don't really care that they're not practicing what they're preaching, and instead they get rich, doing something which isn't aligned to their core. In other words, just like many gurus out there who got rich selling advice but not actually doing whatever that thing that they were advising about, right? He was no different. He was telling me to do the same. So eventually, though, I made a decision to give up coaching and go into traffic full time, and just adding the coaching element to the traffic, which created the necessary personal satisfaction for me through the Solo VIP Club. But this whole story kind of illustrates how the ethical lines have been just blurred so much that people don't even pay attention anymore.
Man, that's funny. I thought I was the only one that had a problem with that. I'm glad to hear I'm not. Hey, just tell people what to do. Doesn't matter if you've done it. It's all good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're fake, and it's not to say that every single guru out there that is a hypocrite. Not at all. There's plenty of really smart, highly ethical, really great people that help a lot of people. However, about 90% of the so-called gurus out there really don't practice what they preach, which is why you have to be really, really careful about who you work with, and you have to check this person's history before you give them any money.
Yeah. That's one of the things. I learned a valuable lesson not too long ago where I got close to a guru, doing the air quotes there, and I thought that we had similar values, only to find out 6 months into a year engagement that I really didn't care for the fellow. And I still had 6 months left, and it was a torturous 6 months to finish out my contract, but I did it. But I definitely learned a lesson about checking and doing real deeper checking and asking better questions to make sure that I was lined up with the right person.
Yeah, not only that, usually you can feel it, right? You can feel it in your bones when you're attempting to work with someone who's unethical. Like a lot of times, my gut will tell me who you should and should not work with. And every time I go against my gut, I pay the price. So this guy cost me 15 grand. I had another guy from UK, which I don't seem to have much luck with the UK gurus these days, Jonathan. Another guru took me for a ride for about 20 grand. Again, very famous guy. You probably know him, but it happened. So then I've had another guy from America. It was about $12,000 investment. Now, he didn't really take me for a ride, but it's like we were not aligned, like you said. I didn't even want to fulfill my end of the bargain. I didn't want to follow through on the contract. I didn't want to follow through on what he taught me. I just left it and wrote it off as a lesson to make better buying decisions. Because I clearly remember making an extremely emotional and misguided decision, which was nothing but me wanting to work with a mega celebrity, right, who actually did not live up to my expectations.
Oh, I bet you had him on a pedestal. It's hard to live up to those expectations. So what are some tips you can give, first of all, on figuring out people's ethics? And then the second part, which we touched on a little bit, is the alignment piece.
Well, first off, do your research. Second, listen to your gut. And these are like cliche advice, I know that. Now, third, you really want to link arms with somebody who's got a proven track record, case studies. And not only that, this is something I tell people when I educate them about buying traffic. Like, go and seek out feedback about the person, and seek both positive and negative feedback. Because a lot of times people only seek negative feedback, and if they find some, they immediately kind of leave, right? They don't want to work with that person, ignoring all the positive feedback. And sometimes there's people who just look for the positive feedback, sort of kind of wanting to reaffirm the decision they already made. And as soon as they find even a tiny little bit of feedback, they'll jump in without checking negative feedback. But here's the thing, though. Anyone who's real will piss some people off. Like, when you're speaking from your core, when you're teaching from your core, you will not be everyone's cup of tea. So that means that if that person is real, he probably has lots of positive feedback and a bit of a negative feedback. And that's the perfect ratio to identifying the kind of coach, mentor, upline, that you want to link arms with, because that means they're real. If all the feedback they've got is positive and not a single negative thing is being said about them on the entire internet, doesn't make any sense. It means something ain't right. Because again, if you're real, you're gonna alienate and piss people off. That's for sure, right? In fact, there's a whole science behind repelling people off, just repelling people and building a business around them. Which, if you want to learn more about, you can just study. You can just listen to the Ben Settle episode, when Ben and I kind of discussed that, how to really repel people and by doing so make more money. But that's what I'm talking. Like, that's what I find to be the golden middle, if you will. Right, when there's lots of positive and a little bit of negative feedback, which gives me personally the confidence that this person is real, and I can then go ahead and check out what they've got.
Yeah, you're giving me an idea here. I need to capture some of my negative feedback. Put that out there front and center. Every time I get on a show with you, I'm taking notes of what can I do next? What can I do next? You're always giving me ideas. I appreciate that, Igor. I get coaching while I'm here co-hosting.
No fair, man. No fair.
Oh, man. So what else do you want to talk about ethics and what to watch out for, and really caution the list builders on how to live better with the right people?
Well, another thing to remember is that there can be a guru out there who teaches something really well, that they are doing something which really works for them, but it might not necessarily work for you. In other words, if you're following somebody who's doing lots of social media marketing, for example, and they're young and vibrant, right? And you're like 60 years old and you've got low energy and arthritis or something, like, probably doing Facebook Live videos is not for you. Facebook Live, or like posting on social media about the dream lifestyle, etc., is something that young, vibrant people do, but it's not something that an older person necessarily like is going to be effective at. So for that person, a different strategy like paid traffic might be a better fit. You know what I mean? Like writing an email, because like that's not about their lifestyle, will probably be a much better fit for that person because they've got a rich life experience which they can use as email fodder. And one of the most interesting things about email marketing that I noticed in the recent months is that a lot of times when I try to teach email marketing to young folks, and when I say young, I mean younger than me. So I'm 27. So I'm talking like 19, 20, 21, 22. It's interesting because, these people don't have life experience yet. And oftentimes they got nothing to write about simply because they have no perspective on life. They still haven't lived. Any great writer, any good writer usually has lots of rich life experiences, which really, really helps. So keep in mind as far as strategy and as far as relevancy to your situation.
No kidding. Hey, so you've been using those Facebook Live videos. How has that been going for you?
Well, to be honest, I still haven't really been able to measure the effectiveness of the thing, but people seem to dig it, and I get to chat with my audience in a very cool way. So I'm doing it. But I really don't have any monetary data. Like I still believe that anything you do, at the end of the day, it's all about sales. So if you're making sales with that thing, do it. By the way, I do apologize if you can hear the baby. The coffee shop is really busy today, and unfortunately, there's a huge table here, and the baby is going crazy. That's like one of the downsides working at a coffee shop, Jonathan. It's just you can't do anything about other people coming in and having a good time. It's because you're the one basically who's weird, who's working.
What's wrong with you? I think your claps when we synced up probably ruffled that baby's feathers.
Yeah, might have been. But so circling back to where was I before I got distracted by the baby?
I don't know. We were talking about monetary.
Do you even listen to me?
No,
just be honest with you. Do you even listen to me?
I just gave you a big shout out about how I get free coaching. But you were talking about the monetary data of things you do and really just relating everything back to sales.
Oh yeah, basically any media you attempt, any strategy you attempt, it's always about, are you making sales at the end of the day? That's it. So if I'm not going to see any real measurable data, which tells me that Facebook Live is delivering X dollars per view or X dollars per like or something, I'm going to drop it and I'm going to use my time more efficiently with a strategy that actually produces monetary results.
Now, I want to circle back to being real. And so you talk about being an entrepreneur, living the laptop lifestyle, working in coffee shops. And I think that baby is a perfect sign that you're really ethically, really living this life, like it or not.
Yeah, and it's not always a glamorous life. Oftentimes it's quite difficult too. I remember my first trip abroad on vacation to Czech Republic when I was an internet marketer. I'm not sure how that happened, but basically I did not, I was an experienced traveler at the time, and I didn't realize that all throughout Europe, the power sockets, right, they're different than what we got here in Israel.
Yeah.
So when I came down, we unpacked in the hotel, I realized that I could not charge my laptop. I was screwed, basically. So I spent half the day going around Prague looking for a new charger that would fit the local power sockets. So that sucked. That sucked bad. But that's a part of the, list building lifestyle, having to deal with crap like that, which probably is better than dealing with, a boss hole or, working on weekends or something.
Let me ask you something about that laptop list building lifestyle. When you go on vacation, are you ever really on vacation, or do you always go back and do work?
The only time I'm really on vacation when my wife insists. So when I first went on vacation, for the first couple of years probably, I've had like 4 or 5 vacations throughout that time. I was not really on vacation, I'll be honest with you. My mind was preoccupied with work at all times, because at the time I also started, hiring some employees to help me outsource a few things. So I was always thinking about managing them, etc. Today, after I've built a solid team, I'm able to go on vacation and actually relax and check in like once a day, rather than have to pretend I'm not working by the pool with my laptop. You know what I
mean? That's the other downside, right? That's it right there, is that being this mobile entrepreneur, you have a laptop and internet everywhere, and so it is hard to unplug. And that's something that people get wrong. They think that's glamorous, and I'm on the other side of that. I think it sucks that sometimes you can't disconnect.
Yeah, well, you see, that's why you gotta love it. That's why you gotta love this business. That's why you gotta love the whole process of advancing yourself. Because I believe that internet marketing is just a long process of evolution. Because the better you get at this, the more you evolve as a human being. So as long as you're committed to this lifelong process of development, you don't really take it as work. You really take it as it just becomes a second nature to you. So you can't help but constantly try and develop, constantly try to improve, constantly try to serve, constantly try to give, constantly try to, advance your business, even if you're on vacation, because that's what your mind is preoccupied 99% of the time. Besides eating, sleeping, and pooping and having sex, for the most part, that's what my mind is preoccupied with.
So Igor, what do you have coming up for us next time?
Well, I was thinking the other day, Jonathan, like, who can I ask a bunch of questions about succeeding from home, about succeeding with a home-based business if you're a newbie. And all of a sudden, I just realized that there's no better person to ask than someone who owns their own business opportunity. And so I've done that. I reached out to Joel Therian from Global Virtual Opportunities, or GVO for short, who pretty much been around for a good 15 or 16 years. And I said, hey, let me interview him and let's see what he thinks about, what it really takes to become successful from home if you're just starting out. So we ended up having like a really long episode. I think it was about 30 or 40 minutes, which is longer than we usually do. And the guy went nuts. Like, he just no holds barred. Like, if you're brand new in the business, then you will find this episode not only eye-opening, but most likely life-changing.
Wow. Excellent. All right, so that is a wrap for another episode of List Building Lifestyle. We will be back with you next time.
Thank you for listening to the List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.